What's up, fellow Oshabi enthusiasts? This is crop rotation. This is also crop rotation. I ran 240 maps with multiple high and low investment strategies, comparing crop rotation with the sole purpose of answering a question I've seen come up a ton of times this league. Is this keystone even good? The short answer is no, not really. But sometimes yes, but still not really. But it can be, although not all the time. And if that didn't confuse you enough, the spreadsheets likely will. First off, what exactly is crop rotation and how do we use it? Crop rotation is the new Atlas node that sets all crops to tier 1 crops. And each time you interact with any color crop, all other colors have a chance to increase the tier of their beasts by 1 tier. This means that to optimize it, we start out with determining which color crops have the highest chance to upgrade the furthest and interact with the crops that do not match that color before interacting with the crop we actually want to be the juicy one. Generally, this means that the more total crops we interact with, the better our chances of having a juicy crop at the end, which means that the Atlas nodes for a chance at extra plots, and the one that gives us a chance for the other crop in a plot to not wilt are basically mandatory. Unfortunately, whether or not we have more than 3 total plots is completely up to RNG, and this can really hinder the efficiency of the node, because it's not very likely for a 3 crop map to give us many tier 3 beasts, and it's impossible for us to get tier 4 beasts without at least one of the plots proccing the will not wilt notable. Now let's talk about the Atlas trees and the methodology that I used. The base Atlas trees used for each of these sets can be found in the description and on screen, and in each of these methods I'll also show their specific trees. I grab everything involving harvest minus the passives that grant us a chance for harvest to show up because we want harvest in every map. To guarantee harvest in every map, I ended up grabbing all of the gateways and the new Atlas node, the 7th gate. This node lets us craft harvest at the map device for 12 chaos, which means we don't have to pay a premium for a compass that would basically do the same thing. I also grabbed all of the increased effective modifiers on your non-unique maps, as well as all the quantity-related small passives to boost our baseline map quantity. The sets I ran consisted of 24 maps per set. There's a set without the keystone acting sort of like a control, and then a set with the keystone acting as our experiment. For the first set of tests, I started out with a mid-investment strategy, running as much pack size and quantity on the map I could possibly manage to get. This means running Eater of Worlds influence so we can grab as many quantity altars as possible. In each map, I ran an unidentified 20% quality map, which was corrupted, of course, harvest crafted on the map device, a compass for a guaranteed harvest plot with double life force, in this case it was purple, and then a compass for pack size in our unidentified maps, as well as 4 of the cheapest polished scarabs I could buy. I rushed the boss, grabbed as many quantity related altars as I could get while clearing the rest of the map, and then interacted with harvest. For the maps using crop rotation, I focused entirely on buffing whatever crop had the most potential. Ideally, it would have been yellow each time since that costs the most, but you're not always lucky enough to have great layouts to buff yellow crops. So I went with the crop that had the best possible outcome. The first set of 24, I blocked 3 nodes that belonged to the compass that I was using. In my case, it was 3 of the blue life force nodes, as well as 1 purple node. The second set of 24, I blocked 3 nodes that belonged to the color of the compass I was using, which was blue, as well as 1 yellow node. For the maps where I wasn't using crop rotation, I simply selected the crops which gave the most tier 3 monsters. If they were tied with the other crop in the plot, I either compared the tier 2 monsters or took the higher value crop, which at the current market prices is yellow. In these maps, I blocked everything on the Atlas except for the yellow crops. Here we'll take a look at the comparison sheets, and in each of the columns, we have the data from each of the methods used. The most important parts of the comparison is our average life force and T3 beasts per crop and per map. As you can see, directly comparing both sets shows a pretty large disparity between the sets that were using crop rotation and the sets that were not using crop rotation. with the sets not using it being quite a bit higher despite being overall lower in average quantity. If we subtract the value of the blossoms, our revenue is also quite a bit higher. Below our charts, you'll see all of the data about each of the sets, including the total of life force, the average quantity and pack size, as well as how many bosses and beasts we ended up with in each set. So what does this all mean? Well, in these tests, taking crop rotation actually gutted our total revenue by between 15 and 25%, depending on which of the two sets we actually compare. Basically, if you're running a high investment strategy, I don't think the huge variance in performance that crop rotation offers is really worth taking it at all. For the next set of tests, I swapped to a lower investment strategy running alch maps. Each of these maps were between 71 and 79% quantity, and I didn't take any alters so that I can maintain a relatively consistent quantity throughout each map. So in each map, I ran a rare map with, like I said, between 71 and 79% quantity. We crafted harvest on the map device again, and this time we did not run compasses and we did not have any scarabs. I ran a total of 96 alch maps in sets of 24 with crop rotation. The first set was blocking only 3 blue crop nodes. The second set was blocking 3 blue as well as 1 purple node. The third set was blocking 3 blue and 3 purple nodes. The fourth set was blocking everything on the tree, which will essentially make it so that we're not blocking anything. In the 2 sets of 24 I did without crop rotation, I blocked 3 blue and 3 purple to try to optimize the amount of yellow we got. So looking at the comparison sheet between these sets, you can clearly see the average of our control maps without the keystone was relatively consistent, meaning we can typically predict how our outcome was going to be versus the maps using crop rotation, which had very low lows and very high highs. In the 4th set, we ended up having a great performing set for crop rotation, but if we average everything out between all 4 runs, crop rotation definitely falls behind even in an alch scenario. So then what gives? Why is crop rotation even a thing? Well, there's 2 scenarios where I see crop rotation actually being somewhat useful and relatively good. The first scenario I think crop rotation might have some value is in SSF. If you don't have access to compasses and you really don't have any use for any of the other colors, but you want to maximize the amount of a certain color you get, crop rotation could be the answer here. With the mechanics behind it, you can ignore overall profit completely and instead focus entirely on the income of a specific color life force. In the second scenario where crop rotation might fit in is if one of the colors of life forces is substantially more expensive than any other life force. In that case, crop rotation could definitely be useful as it's easier to prioritize that specific color with crop rotation. But if you're looking to make as much total profit as possible at the current market prices, it's just really not worth running crop rotation at all. Sure, you can have some insane life force explosions resulting in a lot of profit in one map, but overall across your maps, you'll be missing out on quite a bit compared to a more consistent strategy. As I mentioned earlier, all the links to the spreadsheets and the trees will be in the description. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions on things to test for upcoming Is It Profitable videos, please let me know in the comments. I appreciate you all. Thanks for coming out.